Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. I'm back from my holidays after spending an entire week doing absolutely nothing in sunny Mexico but drinking cocktails by the beach. But enough of my travels, it's time to get back down to business. Now, millions of people attend sporting events every year, some regularly, some not so often. But to retain customers, it occurred to me, how can sports teams increase their success rate of reaching the right people with the right deals on whether that be tickets or special giveaways and other marketing promotions in this world where everything needs to be personalised now? I mean, how can they know who they're targeting and what kind of technology is available to make this easier? Step forward, a company called Umbel, spelled Umbel, which is a first-party data management platform that empowers companies to better engage and understand their audiences. The company's client roster includes a variety of organisations, including the Indiana Pacers, New York Islanders, San Antonio Spurs, and so many more, and helping them increase ticket sales and sponsorship ROI. So buckle up, hold on tight, because it's time to beam your ears all the way back to the US so we can speak with the Umbel CEO, Lisa Pearson. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Lisa. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Certainly. Hi, I'm Lisa Pearson, and I'm the CEO of a company called Umbel. Umbel is a first-party data management platform that helps sports and entertainment companies act, acquire, analyze, and access their data all in one place.
Fantastic. Now, from what I've read about Umbel, I believe it specialises in helping some of the most recognisable names in sports, media, entertainment, and the non-profit sector aggregate customer data to gather insight and drive revenue. But can you expand on it a little bit more and advise some of the famous clients that you work with? Some big names there.
Absolutely. I think a level set on that might be useful is what is first-party data and why is it valuable? Because that's the area that Umbel really focuses on. And first-party data is data that a company owns that is directly collected from the audience. So as a consumer, when you give someone your email to get a newsletter, when you log into an app through Facebook, when you purchase tickets, when you like a fan or player in social media, all of that is first-party data, and that's signals that consumers are giving the teams. So we've found that the teams and leagues, we'll just call it sport for now, really value first-party data because there's no fan base in the world that is more loyal, more excited, and maybe even more demanding than fans of sport. There's no other industry I can think of where people paint the logo on their face or multiple generations of loyalty to the brand. So the covenant I think that sports teams and consumers make is if consumers are willingly sharing personal information, if they're willingly sharing first-party data with the sports teams, then the teams in return have to deliver something of value. And that can really be contextually relevant marketing. No sports fan wants to get an email campaign for a team they don't like, as an example.
Absolutely. I think it's something that a lot of sporting teams have been a little bit behind with the whole digital transformation piece. But I've read it a lot recently. I had Real Madrid, for example, on the podcast a few weeks ago, and they were the first sporting brand to reach 100 million likes on Facebook. I mean, are you noticing that a lot of teams in the sporting industry are now waking up to digital and the possibilities behind a greater engagement with the audience that are in those big stadiums?
Absolutely. I think we're in the very early stages of a digital transformation in sport. And obviously there's a huge range. We see sports teams like members of the NBA in particular who are incredibly tech savvy, very data oriented, very customer first. We have other teams that have that same sentiment around customer first, but may still be collecting data in things like Excel spreadsheets or, actual clipboards from a call center. So the maturity of how sports teams are approaching even just aggregating all of their data in one place This is accelerating quickly, and I think we'll see over the next 12 or 18 months a big shift, and every sports team will need to have really a data strategy and a strategy in using digital to reach consumers.
Yeah, and I think we know where we are at the moment, and we can see what's heading. But I've got to ask about the old way of doing things. I mean, why do you think that the more traditional programmatic ad buys no longer have value in sports in this digital age now?
I don't think that programmatic ad buys don't add any value. I think there's a time and place for serving up the right content broadly in a highly effective, efficient manner. But the difference is that anonymous cookie tracking and marketing to big groups that way is so much less personalized and customized. And as consumers change how they expect the teams they love to talk to them, that puts demand on the teams to shift what they've always done. So maybe what they've always done has worked until now. And certainly in the area of sponsorship, we see a big movement taking place. The teams have historically sold multi-million-dollar deals with very little emphasis on ROI. It's been about maybe the CEO of a brand loves the team and is willing to sponsor or wants to participate in the community. But we're seeing that the brands are starting to really push on the sports teams to deliver more digital content. It's not enough for a sponsor to just see in a contract, oh, we'll do one Facebook post every other Tuesday for the life cycle of our sponsorship. They want more digital inventory because the brands are really sophisticated and they understand that that's where consumers are engaging. And they see that particularly with, younger consumers, they are not behaving the way they historically have, which means they're not sitting in front of a television watching games and engaging with commercials. They're cutting the cord.
Yeah, and across a plethora of devices, aren't they? As we drift from our phone to a tablet to a TV, no matter where we are, we just seamlessly drift now, don't we?
Absolutely. I mean, you see when people are watching games on TV, they're dual or triple screening at the same time. So they're on their phone, they're on their iPad, they're watching TV. When they're in the venue, it used to be that their eyes were locked exclusively on the game, and now they're on their phone. One really rich vein of first-party data that we see is consumers sharing their email address in return for Wi-Fi access in the stadium.
So how important do you think it is for sports teams to be identifying those unique segments from demographics, behaviours and brand affinities too?
It's incredibly important. In order to be successful, sports teams must know their fans, and they need to be able to market to them as if they know them personally. So first-party data sits really at the heart of this transformation. Younger demographics are huge sports fans, but they aren't actually buying many tickets, and they're cutting the cord. I don't know how many of your listeners have tweens or adolescents, but if you do, they're not watching TV. No. So that entire broadcast rights landscape, which was once, set and impenetrable, is now shifting. There are new buyers for broadcast rights. For example, in the States, Thursday night NFL is now on Amazon. Where and when you're watching live entertainment is changing. So this dynamic is most pronounced. It's no way unique to millennials. We've all become increasingly discriminatory in what we watch, how and what way we consume content.
Absolutely. So just to help listeners visualise the value of Umbel's technology and what it's already delivering, do you have any case studies that you could share with us today?
Absolutely. Umbel currently works with about 115 of the leading names in sports and entertainment. And in many cases, the teams are using us because they want to drive ticket sales. And even a winning team with star players still has a ticket sales problem. Maybe it's single ticket sales, maybe it's moving single ticket holders into season or premium tickets, but they all have inventory that they want to sell. They all want to have deeper, richer insights about their fans. only 5% of self-identified fans of a team will ever actually even attend a game. For example, the San Antonio Spurs, an NBA team, has millions of fans of the Spurs in the Philippines. And I can't say this for sure, but my guess is of those 3 million fans, the majority of them are not going to go to San Antonio, Texas for a game. So that puts the onus on the Spurs to think about how do we deliver relevant content to those fans who are not actually going to be in the stadium.
Absolutely. I spoke to Real Madrid a few weeks ago, and they were having the exact same problem now. You've got 100 million fans located all over the world, and the best will in the world, you can't get 100 million people inside the Bernabeu Stadium each week. And it's actually breaking the game or the sporting event outside of that arena, isn't it? And making it so they can tune in and be a part of that atmosphere, no matter where they are in the world. It's an amazing thing to do.
It's really interesting how sport used to be a local game. So the way you interacted with the sport was to actually go to the game or maybe watch it on television. And now in the States, you can walk around Texas and see kids on the playground on a Saturday morning wearing a Real Madrid or an Arsenal jersey. I mean, it's a global business now, and a key part of making sure that the teams keep up on this is in providing those custom segments. So actually telling them who those fans are, what other brands they like, what they're interested in, what their behaviors are. That's really valuable information, and that's really at the core of what Umbel does.
So without asking you to reveal what the Umbel secret sauce is, I mean, overall, how are you helping sporting clubs retain customers, increase the success rate of reaching the right people with the right deals on tickets, special giveaways and other marketing promotions, and ensure these clubs know exactly who they're targeting?
In the world of sport, I think 99% of the fans are not actually known to the team. So the primary value is helping the team know who their fans are at the most basic level. Understanding who's a fan of your team is really valuable information. And then once you understand who the fans are, you can start to do more sophisticated efforts. You can reach out to them in their social media of choice with really customized marketing. I'll walk you through an example. Sports team has a game on a Wednesday night that has not sold out. It's a couple days before, and they're getting a little bit concerned. Maybe it's not the most, dynamic matchup ever, and they have ticket inventory that they need to move. What we would do is go into the Umbel platform and look for things like who went to games on Wednesday nights last season. Of that universe of people, who liked the star player who was playing this Wednesday night? Who likes the primary sponsor of that game? So you could start to build a composite of an ideal consumer for that particular game. Then we go look for, once we've built out the segment of who is the ideal consumer for this particular game, we go find more people who share those same behaviors, affinities, sentiments, habits. And then all of a sudden, you may have hundreds or thousands of people in one segment that we can then go target with custom advertising. This is just one small example, but it's one that we've seen be highly, highly effective. And I think the secret sauce for Umbel is being able to mine this social data for really rich insights. That's something that teams can't do on their own. Within their own CRM, they may know a consumer's name, maybe their email address, or maybe their gender or basic demographic, but they don't know what other brands they like. They don't know their buying behaviors and habits. So you can see the difference. Once you can start to build out a really rich dimensioned profile of the fan, and then look-alike model and bring other fans like that into the mix, it opens up a real goldmine of opportunity.
And you speak of opportunity there. Another great thing that I've noticed that you guys are doing, because if you go to any sporting event, no matter what it is, during any stoppages or half times or end of quarters or anything like that, people just immediately go straight back down to their smartphones to catch up on Facebook or Instagram or anything else like that. But your recent announcement shows an innovative in-game offering that engages with fans during those stoppages. I think it's called Scavenger Hunt. Can you tell me a bit more about that? Because I think it's a great opportunity to actually engage with fans when they're actually going to go straight back down to their phone.
It is a weird world that we live in, that this is a problem that businesses need to manage against, but it's absolutely true. I mean, look around a stadium and you will see people looking at their phone, even at the exciting moments of a game, not just at the break. What we're doing is offering more ways for fans to engage while they're in the stadium. And those can look like contests or sweepstakes or meme generators or the ability to, click and win. They're all different forms that can take, but what we try to do is look at, mine the culture and look for what are the most kind of modern and progressive ways to engage in digital that are on brand for the team. And when we get that right, we find that consumers are very, very willing and excited. They actually want more things to do while they're in stadium. And the benefit to the team is not only does it deliver branded content that, engages a fan, but it also is a rich source of data. So all of those fans that are engaging in a contest or a game, they are providing data in return.
And I think that a lot of critics will point to the fact that this constant tracking and mining of data is borderline creepy. But I think when it's done right and it's personalised and it's giving the user actual value, then I don't think we mind, do we? It's only the intrusive stuff that we don't like.
What I think people mind, or what I mind, is if I go on a website and I look at a chair, and then an image of that chair follows me around for the next year everywhere I go. Man, I don't even want that pink velvet chair. I've been fighting with that pink velvet chair for the past year. I don't want it to appear in my world anymore. So I think that's creepy when consumers don't know how a brand finds them and the brand isn't delivering anything of value. That is what falls in the creepy zone, and that's really the promise of third-party data. I think the value that first-party data provides is it's really clear how the brand knows the consumer. The consumer is willingly sharing that data. If you go into a stadium and it says log on through Facebook to get Wi-Fi or put in your email address to get Wi-Fi and asks you a couple questions, how many games do you come to? What do you like the most? You're making a choice to share that information. And I think the sports teams have been incredibly thoughtful and deliberate with how they use that content. If a consumer goes on Facebook and likes a player or a team, they are sending a signal to that team, hey, here's information. I like you. I like this team. First-party data really is inclusive. It's opt-in. It's data that consumers are willingly sharing, that in return, they should get something that's relevant for them. And I do feel like the return on data exchange right now is very fair in sports, and that consumers share more data about sports than they do about any other industry, in large part because they are so loyal. And then what keeps their loyalty is the teams sending them relevant, engaging things.
Are you also noticing teams within all these sports that you look after there or help deliver value? Are you noticing that they're actually appreciating the value that their players bring outside of their sport with their own following online? I mean, you get a lot of sporting stars now with 20, 30 million followers. It's insane. I mean, are teams starting to use that more for influencer marketing and also getting the data from that as well?
The relationship between the individual players and the teams, there's not one universally understood way to manage that. Yeah. I think the really smart teams are seeing that the player is an extension of them. They are working with the player to make sure that the messaging is on brand of the team and that there's a free-flowing data exchange. In some cases that's happening, in some cases it's not. The teams really need to be thinking about their star players as their own content channels and make sure that it's in sync with all of the rest of their efforts and that they're sharing data back and forth.
Absolutely. So what's next for you guys? I mean, how do you see Umbel evolving as this digital transformation gathers pace over the next few years?
I would like to see Umbel be the leading company in data and sports globally. We're currently in the US and Europe. There's a lot of sports traction in those markets, but they're markets that extend beyond those two geographies. I would love to see us have every team and league as a customer. I want us to continue to add value to those teams. We have right now about 95% of our teams renew with us each year. So they're currently getting real value out of working with Umbel. The data landscape is changing so quickly. I want us to continue to be thought leaders in the space and help guide our clients and also learn from them at the same time on what data strategy they need to activate and what they should be doing. Every sports team wants to deliver a great fan experience. They all really care about their fans. They all want to sell tickets. They all need to deliver more inventory to their sponsors. They all need to provide more accountability to the brands who are sponsoring them. And I think Umbel and the promise of first-party data can really be the underpinning of all of that.
I was going to throw a curveball in here at the last moment. I was curious, are you noticing any teams exploring the world of virtual reality? Because we've mentioned earlier in the podcast about there's not enough tickets to actually go see an event, and we've got these fans all over the world. How far away do you think we are by where you could put on a headset and actually feel like you're in the middle of that stadium during that championship game?
I love this question. I can't really answer it from a professional standpoint in terms of insight around the teams, but I can answer it from a personal standpoint, which is that my husband is a virtual reality engineer. The other day, I put on the headset and participated in a game just so I could see what it was like. Yeah. And it is staggering. Oh my God, it felt so real. So I do believe that is going to be a major opportunity to tap into the vein of those many, many fans, 95% of fans of a team who are not going to actually attend a game. And the progress being made in virtual reality and how much it simulates the actual experience all the way to, your heart's racing. My heart was racing as I was dribbling across the court, and I'm not even a basketball player. It's impossible to not see that as something that's going to be a big disruptor in the space.
Absolutely. I think outside of sport as well, in the world of music, concerts and things like that, where you can go see that must-see artists and feel like you're on the front row even, I think it's a fantastic opportunity. But before I let you go, can you remind the listeners of the Umbel website details and where they can find out more information about anything that we've talked about today?
Thank you so much. It's umbel.com, which is umbel.com. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, again, I really appreciate what you're doing out there. I think it's fantastic the amount of opportunities in this space, and especially because we're just embarking on this digital transformation journey, and it seems like the entire sporting industry are waking up at the exact right time to it, and it's great to see you leading the way. So a big thank you for coming on and sharing your story today.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
I must admit that before chatting with Lisa today, I was not completely aware of exactly what first-party data was, or indeed why it's the future for many sporting businesses. But I love how we're moving away from the whole one-size-fits-all approach and how we're actually understanding the importance of identifying unique segments from demographics, behaviours and brand affinities, etc. And I love some of the case studies Lisa spoke about too, but what are your thoughts and what are your insights? Do you have any good and bad examples of sports teams and how they market to their fans at the moment? As always, let me know by emailing me at techblogwriter@outlook.com, or you can tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. But that's it for today's episode, but rest assured I'm back in my podcasting chair and episodes are going to be coming fast and furious your way. So thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.